Good morning, beautiful people. Hope that y'all have an amazing day. I'm having some technical difficulties, so I hope that this stream goes well. Talking about Donald Trump, the DOJ, and a little Charlie Kirk news. Everything is just for educational purposes, and I'm gonna get right into the video.
Here to discuss Richard Strampoli, former Secret Service agent, and John Tykert, who's retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General, former commander of Joint Base Andrews. General, let's start with you. Joint Base Andrews, where all the Air Force One flights take off from. What strikes you about this scenario?
It strikes me that no matter what you do to retrofit a Qatari jet, it's never going to be built from scratch to have the defensive capabilities like a tailor-made Air Force One. And so it's clear to me that the Secret Service gave some pretty good advice to the president
Jack,
that there is a real specific, incredible threat, and he needs to have as robust and defended capability as possible, especially leaving Turkey yesterday.
There was a report that it could cost $1 billion to retrofit this plane. Knowing what you know about these aircraft, could that be accurate?
I think that cost is reasonable, but again, it goes back to the idea that you're never going to retrofit a plane to be as robust as if you tailor make it. You need sensors built into the plane. You need active defenses. You need hardening. And all of that really can come from a tailor-made, built from scratch plane. We're building 2 new Air Force Ones. They will have those systems, but a bolt-on system to a new Qatari's jet is not going to cut it.
Rich, it seems that someone, of course, is talking to the New York Times, so it's good for the Times, but if Secret Service is leaking or someone in his military detail is leaking for whatever reason, maybe it's because they're concerned about the president's safety, is that a concern?
It's a huge concern, Laura, but here again, the reason for all this speculation is because we have yet to hear directly from either the director of the Secret Service or the Secretary of the Air Force or both. I have no reason to doubt that plane, the Qatari plane that left to take the president overseas, was perfectly safe to fly. But to echo what the general said, it is nowhere near as secure as building a plane from scratch. And I find it hard to believe that the new plane had as robust a safety and security platform as the old plane. You know, given the threat level against President Trump, not just from the Iranians, but every day, day in and day out, it grows exponentially. Why would you compromise any safety to any level? Take the old plane. Bad call taking this new one.
Well, General, there was a lot of concern about this. It's a beautiful plane. Obviously, it's gorgeous. I mean, I'd love to see it and see how it flies. But having been on that second deck where you see the young officers and flight details, and they're so locked in, it is a bit of a tough one, is it not, to have a plane built by a foreign government that is carrying our commander-in-chief?
It is. The security requirements airborne for the president of the United States are unbelievably robust and require
You like
resilience.
that word, robust. That's a drinking game with you. I'm going to have the kids across the okay every time. No, I'm just teasing it. Sorry.
No, so I just think about how you need to be able to see everything that's going around the plane to sense what is coming up against you as a threat. You need to have electronic warfare systems and directed energy systems and expendables, and then be hardened sufficiently against physical threats and electromagnetic threats. And a Qatari's plane that has these bolt-on capabilities does not have the robustness, my favorite word, as the original Air Force Ones.
Richard, President Trump is very locked into his own safety. However, do you doubt that this plane will get retrofitted? It will be secure in the end, regardless of what it takes.
Yeah, but why would you do that, right? We're the United States of America. We've got Boeing sitting in Washington. Why are we retrofitting anything? It's like buying a used car. Get a brand new plane, start from scratch, and put in as robust a platform as you possibly can.
All the drinks are going.
That's what we need to. That's what we need to secure the president of the United States. Why are we screwing around with this?
All right, Brigadier General and Richard, thank you very much.
How in the world does President Trump continue to negotiate with a country that is currently plotting to assassinate him?
Well, Well, Julie, great to see you. This is, I think, President Trump being very, very realistic about what he has to deal with here. But make no mistake about it. I mean, this is really, a appalling display of behavior, very personal on the part of the Iranians. And so, obviously, we all hope and pray for the president's safety on a daily basis. Obviously, he has the best protection around him. But the fact that he's even willing to talk to them at this point shows how committed he is to a diplomatic resolution. But at the same time, he made crystal clear the ceasefire is over. He's going to strike them where and when he wants until they agree to the deal he wants.
Your thoughts and reaction to this new report that Israel's sharing new intelligence with the U.S. that shows that Iran is plotting a new assassination attempt of President Donald Trump?
I mean, unfortunately, I feel like this is kind of commonplace now. This is a president who has been targeted so many times. Iran was even targeting President Trump. If you remember back during the campaign in 2024, at the end of the campaign, we had to take so many different precautions for the president. And I think it's because Iran knew that this president was one they had to take seriously. He had talked about the fact that they could never have a nuclear weapon. And I think they knew if he ever got in office, he was going to do just that. And here we are. Obviously, we saw Operation Night Hammer last year. We're in the midst of it right now. But I think they know that he's the one person that they should be scared of.
President Trump says he's Iran's #1 target. And now a new report from the Wall Street Journal confirms it, saying Israel informed the U.S. there was a new Iranian plot to kill the American president. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. And John, it is great to kick off this 1 o'clock hour with you on a Friday afternoon.
Yes. 1 o'clock sounds good, but Friday sounds even better. Good to be with you as well, Sandra. I'm John Roberts in Washington. This is America Reports. President Trump has been in Iran's crosshairs since he took out Qasem Soleimani back in January of 2020, and Ayatollah Khamenei's death is just adding fuel to that fire. Banners displayed on Iranian streets during the Ayatollah's funeral showing messages of "Kill Trump" and "Hey, Trump, we will kill you."
Plus, shocking new details on the multi-layered plot to attack last month's UFC event at the White House and shoot innocent civilians as they fled. Our team coverage kicks off right now. Dan Hoffman with more on all of this in just a moment.
But first to our justice correspondent, David Spunt, with the very latest on the UFC plot. David.
Well, hey, John and Sandra, the president is well aware that Iran wants him dead, and country leaders there will keep trying. Watch.
I'm #1 on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm #1. So I don't know. I can't tell you that, but I don't really care because I'm doing my job and I'm doing it, I hope, better than anybody's ever done it.
So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Israeli intelligence recently shared with U.S. intelligence an assassination plot involving Trump. But the president told the New York Post today Israel did not alert to a new threat. The president, in that same interview with the New York Post, said that he's aware of the same general overall threat that exists from Iran. Now, President Trump left Turkey on the old Air Force One this week, prompting speculation that the new plane which he flew into Turkey on wasn't equipped to handle threats. Now, the new plane, which Trump accepted as a gift from Qatar, flew ahead to England, where troops reportedly took a tour of the plane. Trump then flew back to the United States on the new plane. He downplayed concerns that the plane switch was due to a security issue, but it's a fact the old Air Force One, used since President George H.W. Bush in the early 1990s, has top-of-the-line communications and security procedures. Now, the threats don't just end at the Iranian border. Look at these men right here. Just yesterday, the DOJ announced that these 8 men were formally indicted involving a plot to carry out a mass shooting at the UFC fight on the south lawn of the White House last month on June 14th. Officials held a news conference just a couple of hours ago in Columbus, Ohio, where this case is being prosecuted.
Once we had the information that we needed, the Secret Service and federal and local partners were able to identify and lawfully interrupt a communication network that gave us a roadmap to a sinister plot targeting the White House complex.
It was all because Tyson Proper's mother called authorities on June 10th and said, something's off with my son here. That kind of blew the entire situation open for this investigation. Now, I will note this case is not being prosecuted in Washington, D.C., because the men never actually made it to D.C. to carry out the alleged plot. Proper is based in the Columbus, Ohio region. That's why they've consolidated all the cases and are prosecuting it in Ohio. John, Sandra.
All right, more to come on that as well. David Spun Forrest kicking us out this afternoon. Thank you, David. Sandra?
Thanks.
Okay, so let's bring in Dan Hoffman now, Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief in Moscow. Dan, good to have you back on the program. President Trump telling the New York Post today this: I've been on their list for a long time. That's what we're dealing with. He said the only thing is I've left instructions. If anything happens, it just literally bomb them at levels that they've never seen before. That is obviously a brand new revelation. He's left instructions if anything happens to him, as they now know about this threat.
Yeah, I frankly don't think he would have had to have left any instructions because, look, an assassination like that is an act of war. And in the event that Iran was successful in an assassination of the president, you can bet that we would rain down hell in response on Tehran. And look, you're right. President Trump has been in the crosshairs of Iran's security services, the IRGC. There was a fairly advanced plot before the election, which we were able to stop. And that's just one of many that are probably active right now that our intelligence community is tracking. This latest one that Israel reportedly provided intelligence to the United States on a credible threat to the president. I'm quite sure that our intelligence community is following up on that. We've taken some defensive countermeasures. You talked about the president flying home on an old aircraft, Air Force One, which had better security. But I'm quite sure that we're taking the fight to the enemy and searching for those perpetrators potentially of this assassination attempt on the president. And we'll find and fix them and seek to either arrest them or finish them with kinetic strikes.
Bill and I spoke with Lara Trump and asked her about the threat against her father-in-law, the president of the United States, and she said this morning.
Unfortunately, I feel like this is kind of commonplace now. This is a president who has been targeted so many times. And I think it's because Iran knew that this president was one they had to take seriously. He had talked about the fact that they could never have a nuclear weapon. And I think they knew if he ever got in office, he was going to do just that.
Pretty sad state of affairs when you say this is commonplace. I mean, what this family has gone through and what the president has had to deal with, all of these outstanding threats. Dan?
It's not just the president, it's his daughter, Ivanka. Remember that in May, the U.S. government authorities were able to stop a plot against her. It's an Iraqi who was trained by the IRGC, a member of Kataib Hezbollah terrorist group, and who was extradited from Turkey. He was on his way to Russia, but had conducted surveillance. It was in the early stages, but he had conducted surveillance with an eye towards assassinating Ivanka Trump. So it's not just the president, it's his family who are in the crosshairs as well.
Now we know 8 charged with murder conspiracy over this alleged White House UFC attack plot. Dan, there was a news conference earlier. This is the U.S. Attorney Gerace on how common these plots are. Listen.
It's hard to say how common plots are. I mean, there's, I think the internet chat groups, these encrypted applications that people use to message each other, make it more and more frequent, and they sort of embolden people to come up with plans and do these plans because they think they're not going to be detected, right? Hey, this is an encrypted app. I'm going to use that.
This is a whole new dynamic, a whole nother level, Dan, that they have to deal with from a security standpoint, the ability to converse and communicate over these encrypted apps.
Yeah, listen, I can tell you from my own experience, when you're looking at a terrorist threat, you want to detect it as far out left of boom as possible so we can detect the threat and preempt it before any harm is caused. In this case, you had individuals from different states who met on a TikTok app, reportedly.
Claude, thank you so much for the super sticker, my friend. Thank you.
And then transferred their conversation to Signal only after first vetting the participants in this conspiracy. And so the opportunity to detect this threat was fleeting. And it was obviously very challenging for law enforcement. And ultimately, it was the mother of one of these terrorists who advised local law enforcement. And look, it reminds us all that if you see something, you've got to say something. And in this case, had the mother not come to local authorities, you just wonder when we would have been able to detect this. We would have been at the point of attack, and things could have gotten quite dicey.
Wow. Dan, appreciate you joining us on all of that. Thank you very much.
Qatari negotiators rushing to Iran, scrambling to tamp down hostilities and salvage peace talks amid the latest explosion of violence. It comes after that shocking new Wall Street Journal report on a new plot to kill President Trump. Retired U.S. Marine Corps Major General Arnold Punaro is CEO of the Punaro Group, and he joins me now. General, we're spending a lot of time together. Last night on Special Report, this afternoon on our program. So no surprise that the Iranian regime has got a plot to kill President Trump, because take a look at this. This is during the funeral ceremonies for the Ayatollah. Hey, Trump, we will kill you. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But listen to what President Trump told the New York Post. He left instructions, apparently, in case Iran was successful in this endeavor. He said, I've been on their list for a long time. That's what we're dealing with. The only thing is, I've left instructions. If anything happens, to just literally bomb them at levels that they have never seen before. And I'm sure that that's something that the U.S. would make good on. But I mean, why are we even talking to these people?
John, I would say there's been a history of the Iranian leadership and the Iranian people making threats against our presidents and our leaders. This, to me, is very different, and it's much more serious. And the reason it's much more serious is they understand that President Trump is the only president that's basically almost reduced their nuclear ambitions to nothing. We've got to watch it at all times, taken down a lot of their military capability to basically export terrorism, the Hezbollah. So I'm with you, though. We always prefer diplomacy. That's been our country's mode. The Iranians don't negotiate seriously. They're just going to drag it out. They're never going to agree to anything that the U.S. would find acceptable.
But I think when you actually threaten to kill an American president and you have an active plot to do so, according to the Israelis, and they're typically right on this stuff, isn't that in essence a declaration of war?
I certainly would see it that way. I mean, and you know, even though they might argue he's a legitimate combatant, the heads of states are legitimate combatants in war. The leaderships are legitimate combatants. In theory, we're not in a state of war with Iran right now. But certainly, I think it just underscores the fact that we've got to deal in Iran with the center of gravity. And the center of gravity is the IRGC, the Republican Guards, the Quds Force. And even though the president significantly reduced their nuclear ambitions and ability to export terrorism, the IRGC still controls the Straits of Hormuz, which we find unacceptable, and we've got to change that.
Well, I'm not sure. Do they actually control it, or are they just harassing it? Because we control it.
If you look at the flow, the slowdown in the flow, because the people, the insurance companies and the people that own those big tankers, they don't want to be hit by even a simple drone. So
we're still getting a bunch of ships through, though, even if they're going through dark.
You know, and I think our Navy could, and our capability could help that flow. But I think the president should take a lesson from.
Good to see you, Original Vintage. How are you, my friend?
From his highly successful takeout of the ISIS caliphate, you know, during his first term, and use some of those same things. You shut down their funding, you take out their leadership. He took out al-Baghdadi. We can work with our Israeli partners. You basically take out their training areas, their cantonment areas. It would be difficult. It would take time. But that's the only thing that's going to fundamentally change the outcome in Iran.
So you mentioned that the IRGC is the center of gravity of all this, which brings me to this point. This is what the president put out on Truth Social regarding resumption of talks. The Islamic Republic of Iran has asked us to continue, quote, talks. We have agreed to do so, but the United States has stated to them in no uncertain terms that the ceasefire is over. So we're going back to the negotiation well again. And I'm wondering, at what point does Einstein's theory of insanity kick in? That you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? The saying, the second kick of the mule? Look, it's not going to yield anything. We should basically let them go on vacation. Our negotiators go on vacation. Unfortunately, you know, it's poorly written. It tilts towards Iran. So we're actually starting off on the wrong foot. So I personally don't think the negotiations, had never thought from the outset, were going to yield anything that we would find acceptable.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see where we go. We're taking another kick at the can here. Hopefully nobody's kicking the mule.
Right.
That would be cruel. General, great to see you. Have a wonderful vacation.
All right. Anytime.
All right, we'll see you back in a couple.
Well, a short time ago, President Trump posting on Truth Social that Iran, quote, has asked us to continue talks. We have agreed, but the U.S. has stated to them in no uncertain terms that the ceasefire is over. In an interview with the New York Post, he shot down new reporting that Israel uncovered a fresh Iranian plot to assassinate him. But he says he's, quote, left instructions if anything happens. Retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward is here. First to the senior correspondent, Mike Tobin, who's live for us in Tel Aviv. Mike.
And Trace, we've got another night with no airstrikes, at least so far. And Qatari negotiators are on the ground in Iran right now. At the U.S. directive, their short-term goal is de-escalation. You mentioned the president's Truth Social post, in which he said Iran asked the U.S. for continued talks, but the president said the U.S. agreed, but it states in no uncertain terms that the ceasefire is over. This follows information relayed yesterday by our Aisha Hasni that talks were still happening behind the scenes. U.S. officials said the president considers those strikes on Tuesday on commercial vessels an act of terrorism. Iran's actions constitute failed performance at an unacceptable level, but the U.S. is committed to finding a resolution. Now, we reported that the Wall Street Journal had information that Israel relayed to the U.S. intelligence about a very specific plot to kill President Trump. There's additional reporting now in the Journal that indeed the reason the president switched planes on his way back from Turkey was because the new Air Force One lacked some of the defensive capabilities as the old plane. It also goes on to say that the information about this threat was not deemed to be entirely credible. Now, following the 3 tankers that were hit crossing the Strait of Hormuz, the threat level remains severe as designated by the United Kingdom Maritime Operation. They were hit traveling the Omani route supported by the U.S. Navy. U.S. Naval Forces Central Command says that southern route remains open and has been expanded. The other routes, according to the U.S., are not protected. Yesterday, 22 ships crossed the strait. Only one of them traveled that Omani route. Most of them are electing to travel the route designated by Iran. Trace?
Mike Tobin live for us in Tel Aviv. Mike, thank you. Let's bring in retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward, former Deputy Commander of U.S. Central Command and member of the Iran Policy Project at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. Admiral Harward grew up in Iran and went to school in Tehran. Admiral, great to have you on the show. I want to pick up on Mike Tobin's reporting there, talking about the Wall Street Journal. So the Wall Street Journal is kind of going over saying, listen, maybe this threat from Israel was not all that credible, but it is the reasoning that the president decided to go with the old Air Force One instead of the new one. And I'm wondering, you know, the president kind of knocked down these threats, but still left instructions on what to do, sir. What do you think those instructions, what's your assessment? What would be in those instructions?
Well, first, let's assess what Iran's doing here. The same thing they've been doing for decades. They've been targeting our leadership in the U.S. for decades. We had key officials that had to have personal security. Secretary Pompeo comes to mind before and after his service, and others that needed personal security because of threats from Iran. Completely unacceptable. So you have to believe, of course, the president and others were on their list. So that's just indicative of the state of mind of the government of Iran and what they are not just doing now, but what they've been doing for decades. So I think the president made it clear, and I only have to assume what he wrote, that if anything were to happen from at the behest of the Iranians, that to continue to course, use power, political, military, and economic power to ensure that the current government in Iran changes, that you have a government in place that renounces the Islamic Revolution and ceases the policies and programs they've had for decades. And assassinations is one of those programs.
Yeah, I want to read this because this is from the Institute for the Study of War. It goes on to say, quoting here, recent U.S. strikes have had no visible effect on Iran's ability to threaten shipping, and it is unclear when these strikes would have an effect on Iran's ability or willingness to threaten shipping. Iran also likely calculates that it can use control of the strait as economic leverage to shape U.S. decision-making and deter further U.S. military action. I mean, that was kind of the goals, right? The goals seem to be that you cannot control the Strait of Hormuz, and that is a red line. Does this muddy that at all, sir?
Well, I think the president, again, has made it very clear. Iran will never have the ability to control or influence the Gulf, nor have a nuclear weapon. And we'll use elements power, in this case, military power, to hit all the targets that present those threats. Now, what's surprising to me is how long this has gone on and the capacity of the Iranians to sustain this after long campaigns by us. So we've got to still be focused on that, and every opportunity we have to strike or hit any method they have to project power, and most prevalently their missiles and drones, should be taken advantage of. So anytime we can hit them and degrade and completely eradicate that threat, we need to do that.
Yeah. Meantime, the administration is kind of making it clear that negotiations have been underway behind the scenes. What's your gut tell you on this? And what are the odds of actually striking a deal that Iran will abide by?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened in the whole history of the regime. All they is negotiate and give nothing, take anything they have. That's how we got to the first JICPOA. They were rewarded with billions of dollars, and the same thing under the Biden administration. I think what's so powerful here is the president went back to the blockade, shutting down all their money. They have no access, and we can do more of that. You know, shut down their air pass. No one can fly in and out. Shut down their borders. So really ramp up that financial pressure on Iran, because I think that can be just as impactful, if not more so, than military strikes. So use all the power we can. And as you saw in Turkey, he built political consensus with our allies. So all the pressure we can put on Iran, consistent and persistent, do it.
Yeah. Admiral, thank you for your time. We appreciate you coming on, sir.
I'm on every single one of their lists. And so far, I guess I've been a little bit lucky, but that maybe doesn't last very long. I'm number one on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm number one. So
Jacob Blaze, thank you for being a member for a month. Shout out to Speak Easy, where we met. Subscribe to his channel, Speak Easy, spelled with the Z. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much, my friend, for being a member.
I don't know.
So President Trump insinuating all week that Iran is trying to kill him, and for good reason. The Iranians rolled out "Kill Trump" banners at the dead Ayatollah's funeral.
You guys are awesome.
And according to the Wall Street Journal, Israel shared new intelligence with the U.S. that pointed to a fresh Iranian plan to assassinate President Trump. The president even telling the New York Post that he has, quote unquote, left instructions should Iran assassinate him. Bomb them at levels never seen before. But this one Democrat suggests Israel is ginning the whole thing up to mess with Trump's mind.
It's also easy to see that Israel would want to sort of buck up Trump, make him more willing to take on Iran more strongly. Netanyahu has been, pushing for that tougher stance, more hawkish approach to Iran for quite some time. Now, crucially, without any clear plan for how that's going to turn into some sort of success in terms of fundamentally breaking the Iranian regime. But Israel certainly has that interest. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know exactly what that intel is.
I get it now. It's all very clear. Joey, we have 17 intelligence agencies. We have tens of thousands of people working on it, but they can't actually corroborate something that the Israelis tell Donald Trump over the phone. Am I getting that right?
That's what people are alleging. Listen, I would not. I would understand if Israel's like, hey, we've got this sitting over here. Let's make sure he remembers this. Let's make sure he knows this. Maybe it's something that's not as much of a revelation as it is an ongoing piece of intelligence. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at that. I mean, Israel does have a self-interest here of like, hey, let's get back at it. And I don't necessarily blame them for it. It's our president's job to see through that if it's not in our best interest and to go along with it if it is. It's just, I love the fact that he goes, I've left instructions. If anything happens, just bomb the hell out of them. Like, I mean, that's what I would message as well. I would want them to hear me say that. Listen, by the way, if anything happens to me, even if it isn't your fault, you're getting bombed to smithereens. I mean, that's a part of his bombastic posturing that has at times worked very well for us. And then because there's also this like, well, it might actually be true. That might actually be exactly what's happening.
Well, look, we call it that. And the sort of highfalutin intel people call it strategic ambiguity.
There you go.
Right? But it's the same damn thing, which is we got to worry about this guy because he's capable of anything. Now, you work for him. And do you think it's a good idea to personally put him at the center of a target?
Yeah, President Trump knows what he's doing. And it's funny because I know you remember this, Paul. Right after President Trump won, there were folks arrested, attempted Iranian assassins who wanted to take out President Trump. And why did they want to do it? Because he took out Soleimani. That was a huge deal. And in fact, in the indictment, it says that Iran paused the plan to kill Trump until after the election because Iran assessed that Trump would lose the election and it would be easier to assassinate him. Well, you know what they say? It's FAFO. What is it? F around, find out.
What's that stand for?
FAFO.
I saw it in a porta potty.
You almost said the first word there.
So F around, find out. I won't say the word. And they did find out because Soleimani is now dead. But when you put this juxtaposed right against the story that Mayor
Did she really
Mamdani's
say
Office
that?
of International Affairs person
Yeah.
was about to meet with Iran, who in turn had a plan to assassinate the president, it is outrageous that this is where we stand, that the mayor of New York City said he didn't know she was going to meet with the Iranians.
Oh, she got a talking to, and I think a lesson in federalism, because they stood that down, because you can't do that as a local official, interfere in American foreign policy. Speaking of American foreign policy, Kat, I got to come to you. You know, you and I have shared a lot of opinions relative to this whole Cape Brand and Iran, but can we ignore a nation that says things like that and practically has debt to America on their money as they pursue a nuclear weapon?
Well, first of all, I wanted to point out that there was this question over whether or not this intel from Israel was legit or not. I thought it was interesting that President Trump himself denied that Israel had any new intel. He came out and he said, no, Israel came up with nothing, no. Then he said, no, I've been number one for a long time. And then he said, and it's the way life is, you know, which for him, it certainly is the way life is. Look, I don't think it's this mind-blowing thing to think that this regime wants to kill American leaders. I don't think that is a new thing by any means. I think that the only questions that people have had along the way is, okay, they have these desires. However, what can we do to involve ourselves? And is there's a certain cost benefit of money and potential American lives and the risk of escalation. And once you get involved, more involvement seems to beget further involvement. And at what point is it enough? And those are the questions you're asking. To me, there is no question whether what these people's opinion of our country is. There's absolutely no question there, regardless of this. So I think that you can have concerns, but you got to, of course, keep hoping for the best. For the safety of all of our soldiers in the Middle East.
Yeah, this is one. Foreign policy is often described as choosing the least bad option, right? And this certainly looks that way. And let's recognize something else. When we got the meeting of the Ayatollahs and with the bombs that we got, the Israelis gave us that information. This is out there. It was through SIGINT, signal intelligence, but we were able to verify it through a person, a close source, who I suspect is still there. Greg, take us out. What do you got?
Well, I agree with Kat. It's like this isn't really news that Iran is putting a hit out on Trump. I mean, how is that new? Next thing you're going to tell me that Jesse's in Turkey getting a hair transplant. But I guess it tells you how dangerous Trump is to our adversaries, which is how it should be. Our adversaries should want him dead. I find that refreshing. They never would have targeted Joe Biden or Kamala Harris because they realize they're more harmful to the United States when they're alive. Keep them healthy. They wish Joe Biden was healthier. Our enemies love Joe Biden. He reminds me of when we used to sneak into a movie theater when we were kids. We always did it when the old guy with the bad eyesight was working. That's exactly how our adversaries looked at Joe Biden. Now's the time. Now's the time. But I'm less concerned with international assassins that are homegrown than the people that are homegrown, because they seem to be the most effective because they're hard to categorize. They're hard to ferret out. You have these delusional depressives amped up on the media's existential fear-mongering who believe that heroism and meaning will come if they kill this threat to democracy. They'll become heroes. There's a guy in my neighborhood. I see him once a week. He openly on his blog, I think he's a bike messenger, killed Trump on his shirt because he feels that he's emboldened. He can do that. He could do that. And I could see Iran weighing off.
Concerned about, and it's something our president, anyone going on TV going, I don't know if that's really true. To think to play down a threat against the life of a man who's already been shot. I mean, that's the politics we talk about. They get in the way of being human beings.
And you would think foreign adversaries have better tradecraft than some of these knuckleheads who have taken shots at Trump, who are domestic, that Greg is talking about.
Asymmetric warfare, too.
So, there you go. I mean, we can't lose sight of the fact that he's had a number of attempts on his life. He's gotten very, very lucky. All right, up next, we'll look who's starved for attention.
There are new concerns tonight about President Trump's security, and they come amid a published report about an alleged threat against him from Iran, and the sudden switch back to his old Air Force One plane on his return trip from the NATO summit in Turkey. And now there may be even more permanent physical barriers in place around the executive mansion. Our correspondent Alexandria Hoff joins us tonight from the White House. Good evening, Alex.
Good evening to you, Aisha. To my right, just beyond my line of sight, there's that temporary security fencing that's up around the White House. It blocks pedestrian access to Pennsylvania Avenue that would then, accommodate visitors to look at the White House. That is closed off, and we've been seeing it closed off more often. And given the ever-present threat to the president's life, the White House is now considering making that fencing more permanent.
At home and overseas, President Trump has been forced into morbid territory yet again, telling the New York Post today that he left instructions to bomb Iran at levels they've never seen before in the event the country's leadership carries out a successful assassination. The president maintains this is not the product of a new threat on his life from Iran, dismissing a report from the Wall Street Journal that Israel had uncovered a fresh plot.
I frankly don't think he would have had to have left any instructions because, look, an assassination like that is an act of war.
It's not the first time President Trump has referenced leaving instructions in the case that he or a member of his administration was assassinated by Iran. This is from February of last year.
I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated.
6,500 miles away from Tehran in Ohio, the Justice Department says it has now indicted 8 men in connection with a plot to assassinate the president and top administration officials during last month's UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House.
We're just as concerned with homegrown as we are with an attack coming from someone overseas.
Investigators revealed the group's messages included aerial photos of locations around the nation's capital, plus discussions about where snipers and drones with explosives would be placed.
The group allegedly planned to carry out a mass casualty attack.
Though none of the suspects involved made it to Washington, D.C.
Among the 8 charged, 21-year-old Chandler Skaggs of West Virginia. He was actually arrested and taken into custody just this week. He was said to be the planned sniper in this alleged attack. Aisha.
And Alex, a major bipartisan housing bill becoming law later on tonight at midnight. And White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is calling it one of the most significant pieces of housing legislation in American history. But President Trump has decided not to sign it. Why?
Yeah, so Aisha, first of all, he is not vetoing this by any means. He's simply, by doing nothing, allowing this law, this bill to become law by default. But the president said he is not signing it. It really is an act of protest for Congress not moving forward with the Save America Act, which includes stricter voter ID requirements. So the president really wanted action on that first. What this housing bill, though, does, it sets more strict requirements when it comes to investors purchasing single-family homes and removes some red tape for other kind of home buyers, Aisha.
Okay, Alex Hoff live for us at the White House.
Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McInnes.
Stream because I'm having some technical difficulties tonight. Okay, so I'm gonna try. All right, hang on. DOJ. Hang on. I don't know if you guys, if this is gonna work, but I'll try. Where am I? Sorry. Can you guys, whatever. We just have to ride with it.
Work of our AUSAs, our law enforcement partners, our sister U.S. attorneys' offices around the country, and the National Security Division. These 8 men are now in custody, and this threat to our government and to the public has been successfully neutralized.
I think this
but our
will
work
work.
is not finished. My office, along with our great law enforcement partners, will continue to do everything in our power
As long as you
to
can see the
protect
video, we
our
good.
fellow citizens from threats to their safety and to hold accountable those who would commit violence against our nation and its leaders. So I'm now going to turn things over to Special Agent in Charge, Jason Cromartie from the FBI.
As mentioned, a group was making plans and taking steps to conduct an attack on our nation's capital. However, every day, the FBI takes steps to identify and to protect people from those threats. Good morning. My name is Jason Cromartie. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for FBI Cincinnati, which covers the southern and central portions of Ohio. The mission of the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force is to detect and disrupt terror plots that target Americans with an emphasis on preventing incidents before they occur. I'm honored to be here today with our partners to announce these indictments related to the threats against the Freedom 250 Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC, the event that was to be held at the White House last month. This is a classic example of see something, say something, saving lives, and how the law enforcement partnership comes together to keep our communities safe. The FBI is grateful for these partnerships that have helped prevent a tragedy. From the initial 911 call, our law enforcement colleagues with the Danville Police Department and the Knox County Sheriff's Office recognized a potential threat. Their deputies and patrol officers did a tremendous job at evaluating the situation, taking immediate action, and exposing this terrorist threat, and then contacting the FBI. When the FBI began to investigate Tyson Proper, we quickly learned of the alleged plot involved multiple people across the country coordinating and planning a violent attack. The FBI notified the Secret Service, who are great partners in our efforts to protect the U.S. homeland. Command post coordinated interviews, intelligence analysis, and execution of search warrants around the country quickly identified additional participants and evidence of this conspiracy. This resulted in additional subjects being arrested by the FBI over a matter of days in several states, as mentioned, in Missouri, Nebraska, and California. Through this investigation, we learned the group allegedly planned to carry out a mass casualty attack involving the use of drones, armed with explosives and firearms meant to shoot people fleeing in the crowds. Our command posts also included membership of the Secret Service and other partners to share information in real time and to help ensure no violence occurred at the White House UFC event or any other high-profile events. Again, the FBI would like to thank our local partners at the Knox County Sheriff's Office, the Danville Police Department, and particularly members of the Columbus Division of Police, who are an integral part of this investigation. I must commend the special agents, the task force officers, the intelligence analysts, and the other team members of the Joint Terrorism Task Force and the many other law enforcement agencies and officers around the country for their work on this case. They continue their commitment to keeping people safe and working together to protect our nation, especially the work by the United States Attorney's Office and the Southern District of Ohio, who helped us put together this case. Together, we worked long hours, ceaselessly over several weeks to investigate, make fast work of uncovering connections and disrupting this plot. I also want to thank FBI leadership and the various supporting divisions of FBI headquarters and the many FBI field offices coast to coast who are directly involved in this investigation. They've all committed significant amount of resource to ensure this conspiracy was aggressively and thoroughly investigated. Finally, the FBI wants to remind the public how important it is to speak up when they are concerned about something and they observe something that just they observe this isn't right. Again, we've all heard this saying, see something, say something. This was an excellent case of someone who was concerned by what they were seeing and contacted law enforcement before violence could occur. I encourage the public, if something does not seem right, please alert the authorities. You can always call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, or in an emergency, please call 911. It is our partnerships with law enforcement and with the public together that strengthen our safety nationwide. Thank you. I'll now turn it over to the U.S. Secret Service, Jason Reese.
Thanks, Jason. And good morning. My name is Jason Reese. I'm the special agent in charge of the U.S. Secret Service in Cincinnati. I'd like to begin by thanking the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney and his staff, our federal and local partners at the FBI and the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and the special agents and the technical investigators who got us to this point. There is no mission of greater importance to the Secret Service than the protection of our nation's leaders. And the work put into this investigation makes that point crystal clear. When the information came in, it was a great example of how layers of law enforcement can work efficiently together. Once we had the information that we needed, the Secret Service and federal and local partners were able to identify and lawfully interrupt a communication network that gave us a roadmap to a sinister plot targeting the White House complex. Our agents and support staff are always on alert. In this case, they worked around the clock and in a short window of time in order to mitigate and interdict this threat. I'm truly grateful for their tenacity. From here, the investigation and findings will be presented in court. We'll protect the integrity of that process, and any further comments will be made through official court filings. Lastly, I want to make very clear to the public that nobody is more aware of the threats that lurk outside of our doors than the Secret Service. Rest assured that this agency's vigilance and dedication to duty will continue to keep our nation's leaders and institutions safe. I'd like to introduce to you the Deputy Chief from the Columbus Division of Police, Deputy Chief Sagal. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rob Sagal. I'm a Deputy Chief over Special Operations Subdivision of the Columbus Division of Police. On behalf of Chief Elaine Bryant, I wanted to thank all of our federal, state, and local partners for their efforts and collaboration on this case. Ohio Homeland Security protects the public by analyzing threats, sharing intelligence, safeguarding critical infrastructure, and coordinating emergency preparedness and response. Region 4, which includes much of Central Ohio, including Knox County, works together to safeguard the largest city in Ohio and anything in the region which could impact Columbus. As the largest department in the state, the Columbus Division of Police has dedicated resources to the our Homeland Security Section Counterterrorism Unit and assigned them to the statewide Terrorism Analysis and Crime Center, which is the Ohio's Fusion Center. The Fusion Center network allows us to quickly address rapidly evolving situations and threats to our city, state, and throughout the nation. We also dedicate many resources to the local FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, and we're proud of that partnership. These efforts cannot be accomplished alone. They are successful because of the partnerships, but not just because of the partnerships with law enforcement. It's the partnerships with the communities we serve. We would like to thank everyone involved in this case who saw something, said something, and took action. This is how we work together to ensure our communities thrive and our residents feel safe showing up to large events. Thank you.
Okay, we can now take some questions.
Was Roper on anyone's radar before May?
I'm not aware of him being on anybody's radar before this concerned family member made the call to the sheriff's office.
Would this have been the first time that these 8 ever met each other, and have any of them ever met each other at this point?
We have some information, and I'm going to try to stick to what's been filed in these various complaints that have been filed in the indictments. But there's some information in those indictments about meetings that occurred. In particular, there's a meeting, I think it was on June 13th, between one of the subjects in Nebraska, Alvarez, and a Missouri-based subject. I think it was Mr. Rinker. So they did meet up, and certainly we have information in our complaints and in the indictment talking about how there were plans to meet up, plans for Mr. Proper to drive to West Virginia to meet up with another individual, Mr. Skaggs, in West Virginia, and one of the subjects out, or the defendants out in California, Mr. Roa, having gotten in a car, planning to drive to pick up other members of the conspiracy. But a lot of the communication, obviously, is laid out in the complaint, and the indictments was online through messaging apps and things of that sort.
How common are plots like this, and are they becoming more common with the prevalence of anti-chat groups?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say how common plots are. I mean, there's, I think the internet chat groups, these encrypted applications that people use to message each other, make it more and more frequent, and they sort of embolden people to come up with plans and do these plans because they think they're not going to be detected, right? Hey, this is an encrypted app, I'm going to use that. The one, I think, really remarkable thing about what we're able to do and at the federal levels, we do have these conspiracy charges and attempt charges and things of that nature. So when we get into an investigation like that, these are charges that don't require the completion of these underlying crimes. And so when we can get onto a messaging application and uncover some communications that reveal a potential plot, we have these tools federally to be able to charge individuals. We don't have to make them take, go all the way before we can hold them accountable and mitigate the threat.
You speak more to just the timeline. I mean, 4 days before the event doesn't seem like a ton of time. I guess from my perspective, somebody doesn't do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think as laid out in our charging instruments, we've got communications that kind of started, at least with respect to this type of plot, in May. So a good month before the events, things started to seem to have crystallized sometime in the beginning of June in terms of focusing in on the UFC Freedom 250 event. And certainly, when you look at the communications, there were plans to do something at that event: drones, explosives. There was firearms amassed, ammunition amassed, body armor, plans to travel, right? So like a condensed timeline, but the intent from the communications that we've revealed in our complaints and in our indictment show that these folks were planning to act in that within that time frame.
Was the conspiracy larger than it was first believed?
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion sometimes in some of this stuff, right? So you have these chat rooms, you have certain participants in the chat rooms, and you're just trying to figure out who it is, who these folks are. And so you have a bunch of monikers being used, and you don't even know if it's one person using the same moniker or multiple monikers and that sort of thing. So I think at the beginning of the investigation, it wasn't clear how large it was going to turn out to be. And there were a number of folks involved in these chat rooms. There was a number of different chat groups that were compartmentalized, and then different levels of participation in those chat groups, right? So you have some people that maybe were lurking a little bit more and not really participating, some people that were fully participating, and then sort of anywhere in between in that spectrum. So it wasn't clear how big it was going to turn out to be. We've charged these 8 folks right now, but the investigation is going to continue until I think we feel, and the FBI feels, and the Secret Service and our law enforcement partners feel like we've charged everybody that we think needs to be charged in relation to this plot.
Do you anticipate more charges or more people charged?
I'm not going to say one way or the other. I'll just say the investigation is continuing at this point. I'm not going to tell you what I'm anticipating or not at this point.
Is there any indication who really started this of these 8 people? There's been various, through the complaints, this person had this kind of leadership role or this kind of leadership role. Was there one point person that was really the spearhead of this?
Well, I think, we've charged our first named indictment, or first person named in the indictment is Alvarez. I think he's viewed, the shepherd is viewed as sort of a leader in this plot. That's the thing about conspiracies, and that's why conspiracies have been made, criminal conspiracies have been made illegal, right? Is once you get a bunch of people together and they start planning, you never know where the things go, right? And that leads back into the point about social media. That's only and not social media, but social messaging apps and encrypted apps, is that's only sort of amplified this. Why do we criminalize criminal conspiracies? Is because when you get a group of people planning to do illegal acts, that's viewed as just as serious as actually completing that illegal act, right? So I think when you look at these chats, you see a lot of involvement from a lot of people, and maybe it's different levels, and you might be able to characterize one person as more of a leader and this person was in charge of looking at drones and things of that nature. But the folks that we've charged, we believe, were all conspirators. They agreed to commit an illegal act, and they were taking overt acts in furtherance of that conspiracy.
And what do you, how would you describe how likely they would have been to achieve this?
I would say it was achieve. It depends on what you mean by achieve it, but at the end of the day, I think we have evidence, and we've laid it out in the complaints and in the indictment, that these folks had amassed ammunition, had amassed weapons. We're looking at 3D printers for drones, and had travel plans to go to DC. So, what would have happened or could have happened, that's never going to be clear, because thank God there was an intervention here, and this thing was disrupted. But in my view, when I look at what's been alleged there, it seems pretty likely that someone or multiple people were driving to Washington, D.C. to do something.
When you talk about the concern for homegrown terrorists or extremists trying to carry out this kind of violence?
Yeah, there's always a concern for homegrown. We see that quite a bit. I think, I don't know if Jason wants to talk about this, but in my work in the past as a prosecutor with the JTTF, homegrown, we're just as concerned with homegrown as we are with some, an attack coming from someone overseas, obviously, right? And again, going back to the social media and the social messaging part of this and chat rooms, and that seems to be an incubator for a lot of these ideas. People get in an echo chamber, they get together with like-minded individuals, and then they start concocting things. So we're always concerned with that. That's a major domestic terrorism, international terrorism, all sorts of terrorism we're focused on, but we're always concerned about homegrown extremists.
What does it say about the determination of these folks when, after they lost touch, according to what's in the complaint, after they lost touch with Mr. Proper, he was trying to find another way to get to DC.
Right.
What does that say to you about how determined they were next?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about that. I mean, I think it goes back to my point is this wasn't a, hey, pie in the sky type of thing. This isn't just people talking on messaging apps. These are people that were determined. Again, we had Mr. Roa get into a car in California to drive, and his car broke down, but he was on his way. Skaggs, to your point, when Proper kind of dropped off because the cops had been called, and he reported that, Skaggs was asking about how who else is going to come to pick me up so we can get out to DC. So it goes back to the point of how likely was this? I think all those points lead to that conclusion.
You mentioned workers who weren't necessarily a part of anything and didn't participate, but were still there. Are you keeping eyes on those people?
I'll say this. I think the FBI, Secret Service, all our partners are doing a comprehensive investigation. And so I think it would be obviously irresponsible of us as federal law enforcement to not look at every single person that was potentially involved here or in these chat rooms or chat groups. And you,
what comes next for them and where are they being held?
Yeah, so we have 2 folks that are being held here in this district right now. We have everybody's detained, and so the other 6 are detained, but they're detained in other districts. 2 of those 6 are detained on our charges here. The other 4 were detained on complaints that were filed in those districts, and we expect them to be to appear on our indictments. And then eventually to be transported here to the Southern District of Ohio to appear and to face these charges. Thank you.
Hang on, you guys. I'm definitely having some technical difficulties, but you guys can't really tell, huh? Kaiser, good to see you, my friend. So I'll probably, let's see. Which one did I do? I'll give you like 2 more. Yeah, it's not, I don't think you guys can really tell though, can you? Besides me being so tiny in the corner? I don't know.
Also live at the courthouse, Josh Ritter, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and Fox News contributor. What about the argument there that Matt Finn was just kind of putting up that they're, literally the argument is that if you televise this trial, you are damaging Tyler Robinson's right to a fair case?
Yeah, we've been hearing the defense sing that song for a very long time. That has been the argument that they continue to come back as they argue why cameras shouldn't be allowed in the courtroom. If they are allowed in the courtroom, what should they be allowed to show? Can they show their client? Should he be dressed out? Are they allowed to show him in shackles? Where should they be positioned? And then it had to do with whether or not exhibits can be shown in court. And I will say on this one issue, it was an accidental incident without consequence. And the reason for that is it showed for just a few seconds an exhibit that the judge didn't want shown publicly, but an exhibit that contains information that we already know. I mean, here's the news flash. Tyler Robinson confessed, and that's what this letter includes, is that information. So this isn't like it broke something to the outside world that they weren't aware of, but the judge had his rules. He was upset about it. And so his remedy was no more cameras showing exhibits for at least today. We hope that won't continue into the next hearing.
Meantime, moving forward here, Josh, let's put this up on the screen. Next steps in the Robinson case. Prosecution opening brief due July 28th. Defense brief due August 11th. Prosecution reply brief due August 18th. And oral arguments on September 1st, of course, in court in Provo, Utah. Do you think, Josh Ritter, any chance at all that there is some type of deal that is struck between now and oral arguments on September 1?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Here's what it's going to take. It would either take a cataclysmic problem with the prosecution case, which they're done now. They put on their case, and it is overwhelming and damaging, according to the prosecution. I agree with that. Or it's going to take the defense coming in hat in hand to the prosecutor's office and asking for them to take the death penalty off the table. If things remain as they are, I think we're absolutely coming back in September. We will hear these arguments. The judge will hold him to answer, bind him over for trial. Maybe they continue some sort of plea discussions in that time, but it really is going to be entirely up to the prosecutors if they want to back off the death penalty. And given what we've seen over the past week, I don't see any reason why they should.
I was kind of fascinated by the bullet casings being etched with different sayings, different phrases in here. And we can put these up on the screen. The bullets were shown in court. That's the exhibit right there. You see, hey, fascist, catch, Obella Chow. We've talked about that a lot. What I was also interested in is this kind of, the whole idea that Tyler Robinson, that Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson were kind of going this back and forth about how they can etch bullets and the tool used to etch the bullets. And here's how that played out. Watch.
He had said he was planning to go hunting with his family, and he asked me if we had a Dremel because he said he wanted to engrave messages on bullets, and I just told him where a Dremel was.
How long before September 10th was this that he asked about the Dremel?
I'd say at most a month before this was when he was asking.
Was the goal in your assessment, Josh, that Tyler Robinson was intending for this message to be heard, that this message was intended solely for Charlie Kirk, or these messages?
I think absolutely. And even beyond that, this fits into our discussion about the death penalty. He wrote in these etchings, they were jokes. They were references to internet memes and gaming culture. And literally, it was a joke to him. So this man, at one point, if the prosecution gets their way, is going to be standing in front of a jury to decide whether or not he lives or dies. And the prosecutors can say, listen, he considered the assassination of Charlie Kirk a joke, yet now he wants you to take his life seriously. I think those etchings are very powerful evidence when it comes down to that argument to be made to a future jury.
Yeah, very important point. Josh Ritter, great work all week. Thank you, sir.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
Hi, Charlie. 19 new videos, 4 audio files, plus pictures and more than a dozen documents. That's what is in this latest release of information from the Department of War. It includes this military infrared video right here, capturing an unidentified star-shaped object.
Sorry guys, my video completely froze. So I don't think, let me try again. Okay. I was gonna show you guys something, but that didn't work. So, okay, I'll try one more video. And then after that, I will bid y'all and see you guys later because, technically it's not working out. Which one did I just show you guys? This one? Okay, I'll end on this one. Hold on. Let me know if you guys can't hear it though. Okay, let's see if it
Welcome back
plays.
to the special edition of Hannity. The preliminary hearing for Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, concluded today after prosecutors spent the week presenting evidence and witness testimony. But a ruling on probable cause to proceed to trial isn't expected anytime soon. This after the judge announced he would not make a decision until after both sides present oral arguments on September 1st. Here with reaction, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett and National Review columnist Caroline Downey. Greg, I know that the justice system and the court dockets are slow and lumbering, but it strikes people as a justice delayed, justice denied. I mean, September will mark the 1 year since Charlie was assassinated. Walk us through what you learned this week and what we can make of the judge delaying this 2 more months.
Well, it undermines confidence in our justice system, doesn't it, Kellyanne? I mean, the postponement until September is absurd. It's outrageous. There's no excuse for this judge, Tony Graff, to delay a decision. It's shameful. The evidence of probable cause is clear and obvious. DNA, fingerprints, ballistics, videotape, multiple confessions by the accused. Any one of those things alone is enough. But, you know, this is what happens, and I hate to say it, but it's what happens when you put a novice rookie judge in charge of an important case. Tony Graff had only been on the bench for a scant 4 months when he was assigned, and he appears to be so utterly petrified that he's going to make a mistake that he agonizes over every little issue, every procedural step, completely unsure of himself and what to do. Now, an experienced judge would have already brought this case to trial by now, because a preliminary hearing by law in Utah is supposed to happen within 28 days of the initial appearance. Well, that was last year. I think Judge Graff has completely lost sight of the rights of Charlie Kirk's family. By state law, crime victims have a right to a speedy trial, free from delays by the defendant, and a seasoned judge would never have tolerated all the frivolous delays that Graff has been indulging for month after month. It is beyond regrettable. It is disgraceful.
And Caroline, we started the week, of course, with Charlie's widow, Erica Kirk, and his parents and some of his friends like Donald Trump Jr. in the courtroom facing the accused and him, them. And we're ending the week, me curious about the judge's summer plans. And as Greg points out, his need to learn on the job. But let's focus on the most disturbing polling number of all, in my view. And it's the 25% of self-identified liberal Democrats who say, quote, political violence is sometimes justified. Do you think that's gotten any better over the last 10 months since we lost Charlie Kirk to an assassin's bullet? Or do you think we're still in that kind of mood and moment?
No, unfortunately, I think we're in that kind of apocalyptic moment still. We saw the reaction to the Luigi Mangione case was an extension of that. The martyring of him and the eulogizing of him and all of these other vigilantes that do political violence because they don't think they can use our regular democratic processes. But look, to Greg's point, what I've taken from this week is that this judge is not interested in presiding over this courtroom with confidence and, quite frankly, competence. He's given this defense a very long leash. There's been objections left and right. And it should be obvious to this judge by now that the goal, the defense's strategy, is to delay the process, to overwhelm the prosecution with unnecessary interruptions, because this is a death penalty case. And in Utah, that means a firing squad. So you can understand their vantage point. But to me, the most concerning was how the judge prohibited some exhibits from being shown to the public. Now, I understand he doesn't want to overly prejudice anyone against the defendant, but evidence is not secret, and the public deserves to see that. The Kirk family deserves to see that and to have that shown to the public. And obviously, they're also motivated now by the fact that they want to expedite this because there's all these outlandish conspiracy theories that are still swirling around and need to be debunked vigorously.
Well, you're right, Caroline. I mean, the mountain of evidence all laid out for us to see, unmistakable this entire week. You and Greg have laid it out beautifully tonight. I would hope the conspiracy theorists would just shut up for once. Greg, I'm worried that time is on the side of the defense here. We see the mountain of evidence showing his guilt, But does this give the defense time between now and that September 1st oral argument date to concoct these allegations of bias, to come up with a reason to evade the death penalty? Are you worried about that?
No, not particularly. The evidence is so powerful and overwhelming. You know, the judge wants briefs from the lawyers. I mean, I've been a lawyer 46 years. I have never heard of that in a preliminary hearing. Look, I covered the O.J. Simpson case, the murder case. It was a big case. The preliminary hearing happened 30 days after Simpson was arrested. I know, I was there at the courthouse. And then the trial happened 5 months later. It is utterly ludicrous that this case will now linger for a full year into September, and the defendant hasn't even entered a plea. This is absurd.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews.
Are we still friends, you guys? You guys are cutting up in the chat. Let me. Let's try. Okay, see, one of my videos not gonna play. Let me see if this one will play, we'll end on this one. Fingers crossed.
Welcome back. Secretary of State Marco Rubio setting Minnesota Governor Tim Walz straight. The State Department has revoked the legal status of a man from Laos convicted of sexually abusing a 10-year-old girl in Minnesota. 20 years ago, after his arrest, Tulu Vang told investigators it was a cultural thing. The victim was his now wife's sister. The man was recently pardoned by Governor Walz, but the Trump administration said that didn't end the case.
Just days before this foreign sex offender was scheduled to be deported, Tim Walz, the governor, issued him a pardon, setting him free to once again endanger the children of America. Well, this week I revoked his legal status in the United States, and as a result, federal agents took him into custody, and as of today, he has been removed from the United States.
Joining me now, Border Czar Tom Homan. Tom, it's good to have you here on the program. I think what I would love to ask you is, what would you say now to Governor Tim Walz?
Can't say it on air, but look, who pardons a child sex offender, child rapist? I mean, that's how much he supports illegal aliens over U.S. citizens, U.S. citizen children. I'm glad Marco Rubio did it, but you know, this happens more times you can guess. Will, I mean, I you know, unless you understand immigration law, I see a lot of times a district attorney or in a sanctuary city, they'll downgrade a crime so they can't be removable. For instance, if you're a resident alien and you get an aggravated felony, you can be deported without even seeing an immigration judge as long as you get a felony conviction with 365-day sentence. And I've seen cases 355. Now, why do you think they did that? They did that so we couldn't act to remove this person from the United States. So this happens a lot, but President Trump, the Department of Justice, and thank God Marco Rubio's all of this, we're going to fight them every time they come with this.
So what you're telling me, Tom, is they do things intentionally to keep not just illegal immigrants, but criminally convicted illegal immigrants in America. But I can't say I've seen anything as far as Governor Walz has gone in pardoning a child sex offender. And it just simply defies explanation.
It does, because they wouldn't do the same thing for U.S. citizens. I mean, you saw the Attorney General in Virginia here, where I live. He's been called before Congress for treating illegal aliens better on criminal convictions and criminal cases than American citizens. And the reason he's doing that is to make it hard to deport these people. Again, I think that American people need to pay attention to this. You know, elections matter, and we need to put the right people in place to enforce law. I'm not endorsing any candidate. I'm saying let's pick the candidates that are going to enforce the law. President Trump's all about putting America first, enforcing law, and that's what we need to continue to do.
All right, Tom, I want to ask you about this story. It's making the rounds. It is a story of an illegal immigrant who was killed in Houston, shot by an ICE officer. Now, according to DHS, the illegal immigrant tried to ram the ICE officer with his car. Now, this, of course, as you know, is making the rounds. There are those talking about it on other cable channels and in other mainstream media sources. And what they will say is, after Alex Preddy or Renee Good, they don't accept initial explanations of what has happened. So I want to ask you what happened and what evidence does DHS and ICE have to back up what happened?
Well, look, as usual, I'm not going to discuss an ongoing investigation. We're going to let the investigation play out, because if I give an opinion, then that may sway, certain people on the decisions of the investigation. We need to let the investigation play out. Let the facts come together, because there's going to be some body cam footage, maybe. There's going to be cell phone video. There could be, cell phone towers in the area or cameras that the city owns that may, capture some images. So we need to let the investigation play out. But for the media, don't trust ICE. And why is that? Because the vast majority of media, they constantly tell lies about what ICE is doing, and they base that on members of Congress who want to compare ICE to the Nazis, the secret police, and so forth. The hateful rhetoric is driving public opinion away from ICE. But I think in the last few months, we're winning the public back because we're putting the truth out there. We're releasing videos. We're talking about these investigations. So when this investigation comes out, we'll see where it lies. But we got to let it play out, Will.
You're 100% right. I know you're right. That is the right answer. It's the right thing to do, Tom. We just are in this moment where the period of time between which we see body cam footage or flock camera or city camera footage is filled with lies that command the public narrative. That's where hands up, don't shoot came in. That's where so many different narratives that people still believe today come in. And we can implore them, wait for the evidence, wait for the facts. Unfortunately, so many others fill that time period with lies that become narratives that turn into political movements. And I know that your job today is to be right. And I know that I appreciate you being right. I also know that this is the time when those that are wrong fill it with lies.
And I want to just add to that. And when people act outside of policy or act in violation of law, they'll be held accountable. When I went to Minnesota to fix that mess, when President Trump sent me there, the first thing I did is bring more internal affairs officers in there and run down all the allegations. And unfortunately, a couple of agents are in trouble now. But we will do the right thing based on the findings of the investigation. We'll hold our people accountable. You got my word on that.
I hear you. I hear you. You're not telling us which way this case will go. You're telling us there needs to be an investigation. And that's exactly, again, the right approach. Tom Owen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and
Okay, you guys, it looks like my video is actually, it might play. Let me see. You guys are cutting up in the chat. I think looks like it might play. And so this, I know I said it like 3 times, but this will be the last one. Wait, hold on. It wasn't working earlier, but it looks like it's.
What it has been like in that room.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here and to talk to you. It's been difficult. I think as we've been spending time listening to the evidence being presented, as we've been considering the many things that have been spoken again and again and again, it's been a very, very difficult reminder of the pain that was felt that very first day when we heard of what had happened to Charlie. And I just have to say right off the bat that I'm extraordinarily proud of the Kirk family. I'm very, very proud of Erica. I'm very, very proud of Rob and Kathy. I think they're extraordinarily strong people, and the strength that I see in them continues to be an inspiration to me, and I hope the rest of the country. But it has been very difficult, but obviously a necessity to be able to see justice happen. And we're very grateful to the Lord that he's opened up the kind of doors for us to be able to do this, as albeit the timing is very delayed. And sometimes our timing isn't the thing that we have to be thinking about. It's more along the lines of what God wants for this situation. And I think that that's what we're all doing. We're putting our faith and trust in Christ, understanding and knowing that it's in his hands, and that justice really, truly belongs to him.
Yeah. Well stated. Pastor, is this good for you to be there? Does this help you?
I think that's a loaded question because it was very painful. It was very painful to lose Charlie. I do think that there is some catharsis in the sense that being able to see justice play out the way it is and being able to understand what is actually happening and what's been in front of us, especially because of the many lies that have been broadcast on camera, typically online in the the online troposphere. It's been very, very difficult to be somebody who's in the middle of it, who knows these people very, very well, who's very close to these people, and then listening to the lies and the misinformation that continues to be communicated. And sometimes, look, I just have to say, I think sometimes when you see these types of things happening online, it's people grieving in their own way. I just wish that we would be able to look at this a little bit more level-headed and understand that this nation lost somebody great, lost somebody very, very special. And I think the responsibility that we have is to see the good that can come out of it. I certainly know that's Erica's view on this, that she understands what the world meant for evil. God is certainly taking it and using it for good. And, the crying and the tears and the pain that we're seeing is something to be very, very much expected. But I do find it somewhat cathartic in a way to be able to understand that things are playing out the way that we hope and expect to be played out. We don't carry any bitterness in our hearts towards the killer. But we certainly understand the fact that justice is necessary, especially the way our country works and the way our system is wired.
Pastor Caddis, we really appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir.
It's an honor.
Yeah,
Truly an honor.
God has blessed you in many ways, and you've just shown that. Your ability to communicate is extraordinary. Thank you, sir, and stay strong. Thanks for coming on today.
Well, I'm so grateful. And I just want to say that, our prayers are with the nation. I think that's something that Erica is thinking about as well. Her heart is for the people and has been. And we continue to pray for everybody that's watching. This is tough for everybody. And we're just asking for God's will and strength through this.
Amen to that. Thank you, sir. Our best to you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News.
You guys' comments. Let me give up on the videos. The videos just are not working today. Okay. Jimbolina says that I don't even know why. You guys that don't like Charlie Kirk or his ideas, does that mean that he should die in the way that he died? Is that what it means? I'm trying to see some of your comments. Let me use my phone. Anyways, I think that that's where hands up, don't shoot came in. I think that I really don't understand why this trial is on hold for so long. They really should just get it done because we still have Maduro and Luigi Mangione. We got to follow that trial. And this Erica Kirk's family deserves justice. And we need to see that Tyler Robinson, there's so much evidence in this case. I don't think he's going to get out. I don't think he's going to get out. You said no, but I'm not going to mourn him. I'm not asking you to mourn him, Jimbolina, but nobody deserves to lose their life. And if Charlie Kirk was not a conservative political activist, then you guys wouldn't be giving him the hate that you're giving him. Claude says Claude. Oh my God, I can tell I'm tired. Kaiser, I missed you. If you don't like Charlie, you haven't really listened to him. They're just projecting. Absolutely. You guys are talking about Epstein. You guys are talking about a lot of stuff. Listen, you're not going to get what you want from the Epstein files. There was Donald Trump's name was mentioned a lot. I will give you that, but not in connection with any crimes. That would have come out during the Biden administration while Donald Trump was running for presidency. That would have come out like that. All right, you guys. The minute says lefties don't like an open debate. I hear you. Claude, what? But you guys haven't said anything that was convincing. So if you think that Tyler Robinson is innocent, well, I think that some of you just want something to say, honestly. If Charlie was on the left, he'd be alive still. Facts, Doc. Facts. Just like that CEO executive in the Luigi Mangione case. Tana says, no, I was raised Southern Evangelical Church, and I'm sick of hearing this. Tana, okay. All right, you guys, I will see. I love an open debate. Okay. Charlie just sucked at it. Charlie has gained over 1 million followers that will disagree with you. They'll disagree with you, Jimbolina. He's now alone, but Tyler is not innocent. Well, he still needs to go. You support Donald Trump? I just talk about the news, Carbon. I talk about the news. All right. I'm an American. I support the administration. I support the commander-in-chief. I love being disagreed with, Jimolina. I see it because you go hard in the chat. You go really hard. You're probably one of my favorite adversaries. You won't read my message. Your message probably didn't catch my attention, Eric. I don't know what to tell you. If your message didn't catch my attention, it didn't catch my attention. I'm an American, but I don't believe blindly. Eric D, that's cool. That's cool. Javelina says she doesn't lie. You have an extreme opposite emotional opinion. Is that fair? I love an open debate. When I do a regular stream, hit my link. Trump owns real estate in the minds of these peasants. Jason, I'm trying to tell you. Diminish says Iran would have nuked if Democrats were in power. Fact. I mean, I'm reading it. Hi, Mabane 84. I see you. So you guys, I just share the news. I'll let you guys hear these things for yourselves. I don't try to convince you. I just play the news, but the amount of hate I get for my commentary is just insane. So thank you for supporting my streams. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Doc says they're called ICE. ICE. Oh, ICE about to pick me up. Child. There's other Charlie Kirks out there. There's people actively traveling to campuses to debate still. Charlie created a movement. Charlie created a larger movement than when he was alive. So for people to say that he wasn't good at what he did, I don't know how you measure success, because he is extremely successful even in death. He is. We're delusional because Iran they don't have nukes because we didn't allow it in the United States. We bombed their facilities. Okay? Betty says, oh, thank you. Oh, wait, let me read the comment before I say thank you. I'm here because I was scrolling and you said something nice about someone disagreeing with you. Stayed because you seem smart. Betty, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. My mods will not time you guys out for disagreeing, for speaking your minds. This is an open chat. It's an open format. You guys can wreck out in the chat and speak your minds. I play what's happening and I find clips that will sum things up, unedited, and I'll let you hear from the politicians' mouths themselves. You guys make your decisions, all right? It's all about a conversation. Now, I'm going to lay it down. I will be back later. His videos are still circulating. Nin says he was the best in the business. We lost a great man that was hope in the world. It was a tragic and traumatic loss, period. People can try to rationalize it, say he deserved it. No one deserves it. Jimolina, a lot of people are watching Charlie Kirk. He's still getting millions of views on his videos. He is. Whether you like him or not, he's made an impact. And that's just what it is. Okay, TV, I hear you. I hear you. He has an insane amount of videos. You can't go, hold on, I gotta highlight it. You can't go 5 seconds without selling one over Dave Chappelle. What call are we in today, Eric? Whatever. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. So with the preliminary hearing ending, there was so much evidence. If there was that much evidence during a preliminary hearing, can you imagine what will be said during the trial? This is going to be interesting. What do you guys think about Tyler Robinson's alleged lover speaking? That was very informative. He was given immunity, but according to him, Tyler confessed. And according to him, Tyler has regret. They always regret it after the fact. After the name calling, after the 5 minutes of fame, at the end of the day, he will regret it. Just like all the other trials that we covered. They always regret it after. Look at Carmelo Anthony. I'm not going to bring him up right now because you guys beat me up. Look at him. Sean Gathright. They always regret it after the fact. They do. Leanyville still seems to understand the message. Okay. No one cares about Kirk. A lot of people cares about Kirk, and Erica Kirk has gotten so much flack losing her husband. Did she do things that are questionable according to Candace? But I stopped listening to Candace Owens a long time ago when she started going down all these theories and she was talking about the French president and all of those things. I stopped listening because I'm not a conspiracist. I'm not a conspiracy channel. I don't go down those rabbit holes. Malcolm X challenged the mind of college students in the 60s and was unalive too. Thank you for the comparison, Claude. Thank you. You're absolutely right. I'm trying to see some of your comments that are relevant to what I'm talking about. Oh, Lord. Okay. I can't really follow your comments because it's kind of random. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to lay it down. I love you guys. I will talk to y'all soon. Henny. So I know I need to go to bed, but Kaiser said, the assassination of Charlie goes far beyond us. We're concerned about it here as well. Thank you, Kaiser. Kaiser is, I don't want to dox him, but he said it. He's over there. I hope y'all have the best of Saturday. Speedy recovery. Eric, you keep talking about your comments. Now, I don't like to put people on the spot. I have a lot of comments coming through, and if I miss your comment, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal, Eric D. I don't even know you. I just met you. What? Don't start your morning off mad at you, please. Read. Jimbolina. One thing I could say about Jimbolina, even though I disagree with most, if not everything that she says, she has the right to say it. She's not afraid to speak her mind. I give her credit. Why would a woman put herself in front looking like this? I don't know. I'm crazy, I guess. I'm crazy. I don't really care what I look like. Candace is finally speaking truth, and I loathe that woman normally. Candace brings an interesting perspective. I stopped listening to Candace Owens, but I don't like what she says about Erica Kirk. But listening to her lately, and she did that podcast. Oh, sorry, I'm a little tired. I can't remember who she did the podcast with, but you guys know him. Very large platform. She brings an interesting perspective. I just don't like conspiracies. That's why I'm having trouble following along. You can thank me for warning you about Candace Owens. Don't be scared. Lord, you didn't warn me about Candace Owens. I stopped following Candace Owens before I started this channel. What are you talking about? It's true, everything she says about Erica. I don't believe Erica had anything to do with her husband's unaliving. I don't believe it. Sean Ryan. Thank you, Nin. Sean Ryan. Let me see if I can look at your comments with my phone because it goes too fast on my screen. Dang girl, good morning. Hey, Jesse, good morning. Candace is a scorner, and I don't sit in the seat of scorners. You guys can be mad at me for my thoughts on Candace Owens, but Candace has already had a large platform making a lot of money, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. with her platform. But when she started covering Charlie Kirk, she's earned even more, gotten even more donations. At first she just started kind of slow, and now it's been like every day putting out messages, always putting a new spin and an angle. Charlie Kirk's death has definitely been extremely profitable for Candace Owens. Attacking Erica Kirk has been extremely profitable for Candace Owens. We all know that drama sells. It does. Erica is banned from Romania. You got proof of that? Kaiser. I love you, Kaiser. Yesterday, they showed the complete video of Tyler crawling out of the roof, setting it up. Wow, Betty. Wow. We all know that Tyler is, I have to say, alleged right now because he wasn't convicted. I'll say, we all know that Tyler has a great chance of being locked up, but this is a death penalty case. No joke. No joke. The moderators are awesome. Awesome. I stopped watching her too. She just got weird, Robin, didn't she? It wasn't Tyler, it was Lance. I don't think Tyler is innocent. I think that Tyler is sitting right where he needs to be. We don't need Tyler amongst us. Tyler needs to be locked up. There's just too much evidence against Tyler. And if he's a fall guy for somebody else, does that make him innocent? No. Anybody that's involved with Charlie Kirk should be locked up because that was a brutal. Did you guys see that they were even trying to say that some of it was fake? There was no blood on the ground. I've heard so much nonsense. And that's the problem with the internet. We've seen it in real time. We were watching the debate. Charlie Kirk lost his life in a very brutal way. Now they want to clean it up and throw these conspiracies at you and make it seem as if you didn't see what you saw. We saw it. We've seen it. I think Candace wanted Charlie for herself and was jealous of Erica. I don't know about that. Candace is happily married. I don't like her, but I think she definitely was crushing at him, but I do think they just had a close friendship. And now in his death, she is exploiting that friendship with these text messages and everything else. That's what I think. Erica did get banned. Okay, Tony, well, that's interesting. I have to spend more time on Erica. Maybe I'll make some uploads on Erica Kirk and Charlie. Maybe. No human deserves to be murdered for experiencing political views. When I started speaking out about things with the Trump administration and Republicans, dang, I wish I had some water. When I started speaking out about it, it was because of the things that was being said about the political right. And I would go in other chats and I would try to debate. And I would always get kicked out of the platforms and, oh, you're a racist and blah, blah. Even though I'm a black woman, they call me a racist. And it's just, blacks can be racist too. Let's be for real. But nobody deserves to lose their life over their political views. And the CEO, was it United Healthcare, did not deserve to lose his life. And then people want to make guys like Luigi Mangione and Tyler Robinson heroes. And it's just really insane, the level of violence that's happening right now in America. Exactly, Kaiser. It's insane. Kirk was spreading literal hate. Did he deserve to die? And he wasn't spreading hate to me. Jimbolina, that's a matter of opinion. I think you're the minority here that thought. Free speech belongs to everyone and no one allowed to be shut down even if it's offensive hate speech. Now, there may be consequences for the hate speech, but that consequence should never be death. Do we have freedom of speech or do we not? That's one of our Bill of Rights. Eric, I guess I've seen. Kirk was spreading the truth. He had no hate in his heart. I'm the minority when it's calling out hate speech. You are the minority saying that people don't like Charlie Kirk. You just are, Jimbolina. I mean, it is what it is. Accept it. I didn't say you said he deserved to die. Jimbolina, you gotta listen. When did I say that in my stream? Red Belly back. When did I say you said he deserved to die? Don't play victim. Okay, if you said he was hateful, some people disagree with you. Kaiser said, Jamelina, how about you go back and actually listen to what's said? If you come to a different conclusion, you'll really need a therapist. Yeah, I never said. I think she's trying to throw me off on purpose. People don't like Charlie Kirk. I agree with you. Some people don't like Charlie Kirk. Depends if you're on a political right or the political left. Jamelina says, I'm not playing victim. What the fuck? Okay. If you're not playing a victim, I accept that. I stand corrected. No free speech can be controlled by government. This channel can stop anyone here from having free speech because it's private. I'm not trying to stop your speech, Tony. Are you okay? Charlie Kirk, not a Timu American. Listen, I'm just here playing the news and talking to you guys, Jamelina, about what's going on. Charlie Kirk, may he rest in peace. May justice be served. May the Kirk family be able to move on. I'm not even big on Erica. I wish she stopped making herself troll food and staring at the camera like that so Drewski and other comedians could stop making fun of her. I would love for her to just, but she's in the public eye. She is. She may not be as charismatic, to be fair, as Charlie Kirk, but she did lose her husband. So I can never be okay with that. She was a married woman who lost her husband in a very brutal way. Did she do questionable things after filming being on the casket and all? You know, I can't tell people how to grieve. Who am I? But my focus isn't Erica Kirk. My focus is on the trial. Jamelina is fighting with Kaiser. Lord, leave Kaiser alone. Everybody grieves differently. I cannot judge that woman. She has now, with her being I'll get into all this stuff later, but with her being CEO of Turning Point and there's so much with that. I'm not going to get into it with her and Nick Fuentes and all these other things because that would take me to a whole different live stream. Not going to do it tonight. But everybody does grieve differently. See what happens when I'm off a leash. Oh, Kaiser's back. No, you can't get out of your hospital. Don't talk about him in a hospital bed, Jamelina. What happened to your humanity? You're not being very kind, Jamelina. No wonder you're saying the things that you're saying. I get it. I get it. Betty, what's wrong with her? John, I'm pretty sure my mods are going to take you out for that one, unfortunately. Listen, I can't mod the chat right now. Hopefully I still have some mods in there that can, though. I am not upset with Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk married, has kids. She honored her husband. That's what we're supposed to do. And I have nothing bad to say about Erica. But on a goofy kind of side, I can say, stop staring at the camera, not because I mind it, but because I know that comedians like Drewski are going to make fun of her. And Erica doesn't like to be made fun of. Now, to be fair, she's going through a lot. So I can just imagine what is it like to hear. I can't imagine what is it like to hear all the things that she's hearing about her husband. Kaiser. So I actually have compassion for Erica Kirk. I feel bad for her, but she's not the focus of my commentary. I try to focus just on the trial. But if I ever did, you're not in the United States, Jamelina, I almost said some curse words for you. Maybe I'll do an upload focusing on Erica and Candace beef, but I feel that Candace Owens is in the wrong because Candace has been just really after this lady. And it's not because of morals, it's only because of a paycheck. Erica Kirk has become a big paycheck for Candace Owens, and I can never respect another woman trying to tear down someone else. That's it. What are you guys saying? All right, you guys. I love you. I'm gonna let Candace did have her platform before Charlie, but oh hey Dragon Hub. Candace had her platform way before Charlie, but now it's become way more about Charlie, and her views tripled. She already had a large platform, but it tripled even more after Charlie Kirk. Putting out the messages, saying things like, "Oh, he wasn't really just time out the ones that spam the chat." You don't even have to tell them. Everybody knows not to spam my chat by now. So, what was I gonna say? I'm not gonna risk my channel because you guys want to spam my chat. It makes it look like a bot. So what was I gonna say? Just made me lose my train of thought. Oh, Candace did have a large platform, but it's become more profitable, and she's gained a huge following outside of the one that she already had covering the Charlie Kirk case. I think that makes her a bad friend because in my afterlife, would I want you putting out my private messages and things like that? No. Saying things like I wasn't Christian, I was really following the Catholic faith and all that stuff. Candace is just wild. She's wild. But I can't trust the things that she says. Thank you, Betty. I can't trust everything that she says because she's facing lawsuits because of some things that she said that weren't correct. So no, I do not trust Candace 100%. I think Candace went down the wrong. I just think Candace is just doing a lot of things for a paycheck and for popularity. I do. The memorial was profitable for TPUSA. What do you want me to say about that? I think they gave him a beautiful memorial. Erica can have the memorial however she wants. It's her husband. A lot of people would lose a loved one, and if they have the money to do it, they have a big celebration and make a big thing of it. We've seen that with a lot of activists. Show me an activist that wasn't famous. Show me an activist that was famous that didn't have a big ceremony or homecoming, whatever you want to call it. And every other channel made money too. A lot of people profited off of Charlie Kirk. And I'm not saying, the only thing I'm saying about Candace is that she obviously is, she's just covering this every day. I just don't agree with everything she's saying about Erica Kirk. That's all I'm saying. All right, you guys, I love you. Answer me. Gemelina, you're unhinged. You're unhinged. Huh. All right, you guys. I'll be back later today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. If you want me to cover something in particular, leave me a comment under my community post. Oh, I thought I hit my 2-hour mark. I didn't hit my 2-hour mark because I got a little bit more time with you guys. Unhinged is right. Jason, what is wrong with her? Are Catholics Christian? Gemelina, you're not about to twist what the hell Candace was trying to say. If you heard it, you'll know that is not, you're off topic. You just are. You're obviously new to the channel. I don't trust either of them. Some 50 birds, she must be new to the channel. Candace show is totally self-supported by the viewers, by the way. I agree with you. It is supported by the viewers. Are you saying she doesn't make a YouTube check? That's not correct. All right, you're not gonna boss MU around, Doc. I must have missed the comment. Catholics are Christians, but the way that Candace was talking about it was not in the way that you guys are talking about it in the chat. Catholics are Christians. What time is it? I can't go over 2 hours. Catholics are Christians the same way Christians are Jewish. They don't practice the religion the same. This is the first time I've ever seen this content creator. Welcome, Betty. How'd you find? Oh, you said you were scrolling. Oh, when she said, answer me. Doc, is she okay? What the hell is wrong with Gemelina? I think she wanted me to see her comment. Jill says, Candace has lost her mind after her last baby. I think Candace is doing Candace, and Candace is good for views. Did you guys watch her podcast? That podcast that she did? I don't have her Patreon, so I couldn't watch it. Hilarious when Christians argue about what flavor is the best. You know what? I believe in God. That's it. I don't. If Christ is your deity, then you are a Christian. Okay, D-Menace. Okay. I think we're living in scary times, you guys. When people can praise somebody that takes somebody else's life. We are living in scary times. And you are a breath of air, a breath of fresh air, young lady. Thank you so much, Betty. I appreciate you. I'm glad you found this channel. I appreciate the kind words. Because I sure get a lot of, like, bruh, yeah, I can't catch all the comments, especially when I'm using my computer and not my phone. The term Jew should only refer, listen to Claude. That's right, Claude. Thank you. Hi, Strat0058. How you doing? Racist, right, evangelical Christians worship what? Let freedom ring. What? What does that mean? You're a prayer warrior. Nice. I love it. I started thinking about the things. You know what? I like to pray. I tell you guys all the time, I pray for the country. I pray for the people in the chat, especially after seeing you guys' comments. I'm a praying person. I am a conservative person. For those of you that was asking earlier, that's new to me. And before I started talking about politics, I talked about something completely different. All right. If you look at some of my old videos, you have an idea. I got tired of conservatives being called racist and fascists and Nazis. And I was like, wow, let me start a platform so people that are conservative, anybody can speak. We have a nonpartisan chat. You're all welcome. But the things that were said about the conservative part, Republicans in particular, and conservatives, was just crazy. When we believe in traditional values and stuff like that, and I got tired of it. A lot of the Republicans are not conservative. Eric, I think that's an ignorant statement, because whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you can still be conservative. So I think that you're just, and I don't know why you put that in all caps. You shouldn't have drew my attention to that. I don't understand. Would you have kids? What does that have to do with the conversation? By the way, Christian is following Jesus' example. Christ never asked for worship. That is a good point, Claude. I can't. If I miss your comments, don't take it personal. Jesus was Lebanese, Lord. Where does it say that in the Bible? Betty, the point is, he never asked for it, which I don't remember reading. Uncle Claude is right. All right. That BS, that conservatives, everybody is conservative. Everybody wants to save money. If everybody is conservative, then we should get along just fine, Javon. We should have no problems. Trump has been married 3 times. That's not conservative. That has nothing to do with the meaning of being conservative. Chad says, Miss, you see why people don't like some of your commentary. You showed your political bias. How did I show my political bias, Chad? Can you be more specific? Which I respect, but people are going to disagree. Kaiser's been to a lot of my streams and he knows I get people together. However, I usually don't stream at this time, so I'm pretty laid back right now. I'm a very early morning streamer. These are not the times that I come on. If you guys are trying to catch me live, you'll usually catch me about 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, going into the morning, or 12 or 1 in the morning. Not at this time, okay? So I'm very laid back right now. I would like to know, how did I show my bias? I have people that are Democrats, all kinds of things in the chat, and I'll let you guys speak. So how is that bias? I can't share my views. I have to just listen to you guys' views. I can't tell you guys, so now you don't like me because I said I'm conservative. I don't understand. I don't understand your point. Make that make sense. I love Kaiser. I've been married once, so if I get married twice, I'm no longer conservative. Really. The president says whatever he wants. Call mom. I said, my child, lefties will say anything about the president. A lefty. The president is not a lefty. He started out that way, and he came to his common sense. You don't vote, Savage. I almost said something, but I'm gonna shut up. My favorite Democrat is the one that never mind. Political bias, aka you don't disagree with an unhinged view. 2000% original vintage. Shout out to you. You guys, he has an amazing channel. Subscribe to Original Vintage. When I do a regular stream, I will drop this link. Not in my verticals, when I do a horizontal stream. Some of her mods are just brown shirts. What's a brown shirt, Jamalina? What does that mean? You just said he started off that way. I think he started lying, and he's still that way. We all know that Donald Trump didn't start off as Republican. Like a lot of us didn't start off as Republican. People change, especially as they get older, they change. I'm not going to fault that man for being Republican. Not at all. Everyone has biases. You just haven't come to the maturity to identify them. Yet, live long enough, baby. That's right, Betty. Trump was racist in the 80s. You guys call everybody racist. Everyone's a racist that disagrees with you. Can we talk about the racism of Biden? Biden admitted he was racist, and people forgave him. Biden said, I've been cured of racism. So before you tell me about Donald Trump, start with Biden, who didn't want his kids on the same bus with black people, who didn't want his kids to go to school with black people. And yet you guys try to praise him over Donald Trump. So you want to talk to me about racism, talk to me about all races, not just the ones that you don't like. Savage, I don't know. Jesus himself said he was doing the will of his Father. Okay, Claude is on some religious stuff right now. Actually, what the hell is a brown shirt, Jamalina? What time is it? Okay, you guys. Dang it. This is the longest okay, we got 3 minutes. You guys know I try to stream for 2 hours. Teriak. Did Teriak come into the chat? Shout out to Teriak. How come I didn't see that? Did Teriak come into my chat? Shout out to him. Thank you if you're in my chat. That is an example of your commentary showing your political bias. I'm still waiting for the bias, Chad. Where's the bias? Can you give me an example? Can you give me an example? I love vintage. Of the bias. Brown shirts equals Nazis. Lord. This is why I posted multiple times. Let me use my phone because I can't catch all comments. Let me see what you guys are saying. I don't think that's gonna work. Let me turn on my volume. Everyone refuses to read what they don't agree with. Dragon, it's not that. There's only so many comments that I can read, Dragon Hub. What do you want me to do? Bias, you disagree. They have nothing else beyond what is logical. Okay, you guys keep saying I'm biased. Give me an example of how I am biased. You can't just put that in the chat. Give me an example of how I'm biased. read every comment. Don't tell me what to do, Eric. I'm not about to read every comment. Why would I? No. No. You can send a super chat if you want me to catch a comment. Other than that, I will read the ones that catch my attention. You're not biased. That's the point. Exactly, Ventures. They can't give me one reason. And Eric, you should know by now that I'm not reading all of your comments. Okay? That would be putting a lot of ridiculous nonsense in my brain, and I'm just not going to do it. I'll read some of your comments, but no thank you. Hey, Nini. Good morning. Oh, it's okay. Oh, you guys are going way back to Hitler. So, if you don't have your comments read, there could be a reason for that. I'm not interested. Let me see. I'm biased. You're biased. Everybody's biased. Whatever. Oh, you didn't have to zap his comment for that, Claude. That was fine. It's always those pesky facts that fire up in the ignorant. That's right, Betty. Kaiser. I could have blanked the super. I would put a link in the chat, you guys, but I don't know if you guys would be able to hit it because my StreamYard has been messing up. Did you enjoy your set? Yeah, Nini, I enjoyed it. I could try, but don't. Okay. Because I have to put the link on my community wall, and then you guys can come up with that. But how dare you, MU? Is being level-headed, interesting person. Yeah, if you guys ever want to come up with my verticals, just let me know and I'll put it on my community wall. How dare you, MU's being a level-headed, interesting person with an awesome channel. How dare you? I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm still biased. Gemelina, I think you just learned a word and you're just running with it. You're just running with it. Nini, yes, my next trip will be at the end of the month. We'll be in Disneyland for a few days. We don't need to read a lot of people out because there's a lot of people just making problems. He must be one of them. Billionaires that was on the stage with Trump. If I was a billionaire, I would be so happy about it. There would be no shame. I do not hate wealthy people. All people are biased towards something. I'm still being edited by YouTube. Dragon Hub, I am edited on YouTube a lot. My channel gets shadow banned a lot. I get strikes a lot. And I just keep going, you guys. I just keep going. But I do get censored because of my speech, which I don't even speak to you guys that much. I play videos. I let you guys make your own decisions. But keep racking out. Make your videos, Dragon Hub. Even if I do not agree with you guys, I will listen to your points of views. I can have a conversation. I will debate you. I will come to your. I usually don't hit links, but if you build a rapport with me, I'll hit your link, but I don't just hit people's links. Okay. But I will come to your channels. I could show you guys my timeline and how many people invite me to their channels. And if your commentary hasn't been too much against me, I will come to your chat. No, I don't hit your links though. But stick around long enough, and if I like you, I'll hit your link. But I usually don't because I already know it's not going to go well. I already know that some people are going to disagree with me just to make commentary about it. I'm just here to share the news, but I'm not here to apologize for my views because you guys won't get an apology. Open invitation always. I'll DM. Oh, are you going live? Let's see. Let me know. Because if I come on you guys' channel, I'll say a lot more than what I'll say over here. Your misguided points, that is, because over here we try to keep it pretty, Majority of idiots in chats don't even know the definition of bias, even after Googling. Oh, thank you, Vintage. I'm still waiting for you guys to say how am I biased. I said that Tyler Robinson he does deserve a fair trial. But I pray that justice is served. Charlie Kirk did not deserve to die. Charlie Kirk did not deserve to die for talking about the things that he wanted to talk about. If I hurt you guys' feelings with that, then I'm not here to coddle you. He didn't deserve to die. A lot of the things that Charlie Kirk said is what a lot of people agreed with. And that's why he had the large platform that he had. And the people that didn't agree with him, Charlie Kirk has gotten people to drop out of gangs, get religious, get married, and he speaks to very young people that can make a difference in the world. And now he's not here anymore. That's a loss. I'll host it as a Rumble stream. Only stream so we can be fully open. Just give me an invite. I'll let you know. I'll share it on my community wall. If I ever start a channel, I know who's gonna be a regular. Yeah. I'll probably get kicked off your channel. Thank you, Nini. How are you, my friend? Miss, when you read a comment about Trump's racism, you pivoted to Biden's racism. That shows your bias. Let me spend some time on this one. Chad, number one, I can't say that Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump has never said that he was a racist, but Biden has said that he was a racist. So I can only go by what a person says, and those are Biden's words. Biden said he was cured of racism, so that means that at one point of time, Biden was racist. Can you show me one time that Donald Trump said that he was a racist? So I don't think I pivoted. I think I brought up a point. I will definitely be there, Doc. Start a channel. I tried to ban myself my own channel because of the hot takes. I love your channel and I love your vibe. I love your music. I'll be there. I'll hit your link. I have no problem hitting your link. Okay, somebody sent me a message saying I declined to hit their link. I just said I have to like you. Why did you put that in my... Well, you sent it in a super chat. Thank you for the super sticker. I mean, for the super chat. But no, I will not hit your link. I won't. And there are no refunds, so thank you for that. Gibellina, so I speak multiple languages. German. Okay, you guys. All right, you guys. So now we're at our 2-hour mark. So I will be back later. I love you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Vintage, I appreciate you. We had Jack of Blades come through. Teriak is always a supporter. My brain is tired. So Claude, thank you for the super sticker. My mods had to work hard during this live stream. I appreciate you guys. Doc, Claude, Kaiser, where have you been? Henny, have a blessed day. Thank you, Dragon. Are we still friends, you guys? At the end of the day, people over policies. I appreciate you guys. I'm not going to change my views for you guys, but I'm always willing to listen. I am. I'm just a conservative brown girl in a space that favors lefties. And it is what it is. Now, get out and work. No, we'll talk about this stuff later. Right? I love you guys though, for real. And everybody has the right to say how they feel. And no one should take your life because of it. All right? I don't care if you're white, brown, I don't care what you are. You're still people. And we're all the same. Some of us are a little smarter than others. Don't take everything I say to heart. I'm just playing with you guys. Vintage, okay, wait a minute. You guys, as I'm streaming, I get so many comments that come through my DM. And I got a message right now. This person, I'm not going to call you out because I'm too nice. They said, how can you be a brown girl that supports Donald Trump? How can you be a brown person that does not? And we'll have a stream about that someday where I'll talk about the things that Donald Trump has done for different communities. How can I not be able... unsubscribing for me. Okay. Since you guys are unsubscribing for me, I'm going to say this before I go. Let me piss you off. How can I not be Republican when it was the Republican Party that fought for the rights of blacks, that fought for civil rights? It was the Democratic Party that fought to keep us enslaved and fought to keep black codes and other things in place to help keep people down. All right. So whites and blacks a lot marched alongside each other during the Civil War. and after. And all of this division is because they don't tell you the full story. There was two sides that died, and it wasn't just blacks. And white people had a big part to play. And I'm not looking at my chat because y'all tearing me up in the chat. Whites had a big part to play in the civil rights movement. And when they lost their life, they lost their families. So all of this division and all of this race division, I will never not befriend you because of the color of your skin. But when people ask me why I'm a Republican, I just ask you, why are you not? Nevertheless, I'm not going to not like you because you're Democrat. I'm not going to like you because you're wherever you belong to. I just appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'm going to run. MU, if you want to lose subscribers, let me host a stream on your channel one day. I get over $1,000, over 1,000 followers a month. I do not cry about losing subscribers. Over 1 million views a month. I'm not going to cry about anything like that because I'm still going to speak the truth. And I have to speak the truth whether I got one person in my chat or 1,000. I'm going to speak the truth, you guys. And sometimes the truth isn't very popular. But I love God. I love this country. Thank you for the super sticker. It was majority Dem House Senate and Dems president that signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It was the Republican Party that fought to enforce the Civil Rights Act. It was the Republicans that fought against. We're not. If you want to tell me about the Democrats, then start with the KKK. Start there, Chad. But thank you so much for the super sticker. And I'm not. There's great people that are Democrats. There are conservative Democrats. I'm not putting one side over another. There's good on both sides. But I happen to be what I am, and I can relate to people that have conservative views and traditional values, but it doesn't mean that I don't value you as a person. Like I said, we have no problem with you playing. You should play professional and keep men out of women's sports. Okay? All right, now vintage. Vintage, Claude and I would come through. Come host the channel. Come host the show on my channel. Miss Under, Lord. I'm going to run you guys. I'll see you guys on the next stream. Leave me a comment under my community post, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Bye-bye.